Console gaming versus PC gaming. How is Steam building an open platform? Operating system, games, controllers, machines, and ultimately a new way to create and play video games. In this 17th episode of Gaming Wars, let's finally cover a gaming company that is poised to steam ahead of the gaming industry. By the way, if you're wondering what are my favorite things, I've started some Amazon shopping lists that I'll be continuously updating in the links below. But if you're here to finally watch a video about a company I've wanted to add to Gaming Wars since its inception, finally, this one's for you. Personally, I first discovered video games in huge wooden cabinets filled with specialized hardware running proprietary software in a tightly controlled gaming platform called the arcade. Back then, gaming companies controlled the whole thing. Proprietary hardware and limited software forced gamers to pump tons of quarters into a machine. This closed platform worked at the time because the technology was expensive, limiting the competition. Atari tried to move gaming into the living room by selling cartridges, but the gaming companies at the time did not appreciate the value of good software developers. So right when it seemed that consoles were just a fad, a Japanese company stepped in with great hardware and, more importantly, groundbreaking game design on the tightly controlled Nintendo gaming platform. But the walls to the Nintendo platform have always been really high, making it super tough for third-party game developers to expand the market. And Sony exploited this weakness and built platforms with lower barriers to entry to help smaller independent developers become gaming publishers. This healthy competition helped the console industry grow into what it is today, standardized hardware and software platforms that allow the developers to create and sell awesome gaming experiences. However, the most advanced hardware technologies and most innovative software advancements always took place on the more powerful and open PC platform first. The downside is all open platforms suffer from fragmentation. Too many hardware and software choices that create inconsistent and sometimes frustrating experiences for developers and for gamers. So on PCs, Microsoft became king because it fixed hardware fragmentation with standardized software. For PC gaming in particular, Microsoft focused on making development easier for Windows 95 by creating a higher-level programming language that could work across all different kinds of PC hardware configurations. Next, Microsoft moved into specialized gaming hardware, building the operating system for Sega's last console. And finally, Microsoft made the move with its own console, secretly referred to as the DirectX box. So since the beginning, the Xbox platform has focused on making great software tools that make life easier for game developers. But during the last generation of consoles, something unexpected happened. Nintendo's tight integration of hardware and software at a cheaper price stole the spotlight. Nintendo succeeded by encouraging non-gamers to start buying and playing games. Also, the PS3 launch price was too expensive, and Microsoft took too long to get the hardware right. Still, even though Nintendo was back, in some ways, it was still the same company. The Wii never really supported healthy third-party game development. So in the long run, most creative game developers made more money on the Xbox 360 and eventually figured out the more complicated but advanced PS3 platform. But during all this turbulence in consoles, a small, quirky software company was profitably building a fourth platform that is now getting ready to challenge the big three in the next generation of gaming. Almost every consumer electronics company has attempted to make a video game console for the living room. Could Valve succeed where so many others have failed? Let's find out. 30 years ago, Steve Ballmer convinced Gabe Newell to drop out of Harvard and begin a promising career at Microsoft. He helped produce the first 3 versions of Windows, but after all his hard work, it turned out.
But the thing that was really striking to me at the time was that Windows was the number 2 product. And probably most of you know what the number 1 product was.
This game and its famous programmer defined the first-person shooting genre. So 13 years after his start at Microsoft, Gabe and his partner put in their 2 weeks' notice, cashed in their stock options, and bought a license to John Carmack's upcoming Quake engine, spending the next 2 years working on their own hugely popular first-person shooter.
Good morning, and welcome to the Black Mesa Transit System.
But Gabe always looks ahead. During the production of its sequel, Valve built its own gaming engine, and also beta-tested a platform originally designed to automatically update Valve's own first-party games, reduce piracy, and make it harder to cheat. Then, in 2005, third-party games started popping up on this platform. At the time, digital distribution was tiny, but the profits that went directly to developers were bigger on Steam than at higher-cost physical retail distribution channels. By 2011, Steam sales made up 75% of the $5.5 billion PC digital distribution market, and a core business for Valve. Like these other companies in retail and media, Valve single-handedly brought the PC gaming industry into the age of digital distribution. Since the beginning, Valve has been growing 50% a year while staying a relatively small, private company without any bosses. Yet it has much higher revenue and profitability per employee than even Apple or Google. But so far, Steam's success relied on the open nature of the Windows platform, where PC gamers could freely download the Steam client and buy tons of games, especially during the popular Steam sales.
Our company wouldn't exist if it weren't for the openness of the PC. Steam wouldn't exist if it weren't for the openness of the internet.
Then Microsoft made its own digital distribution platform, posing a potential threat to Steam. Similar to the Mac App Store and Google Play, Windows Store apps must be certified for compatibility and content.
We thought, well, how to be polite about this. So we thought that there was, we thought there's some bad thinking.
Gabe said the thing about Windows 8 wasn't just distribution. Windows 8 was like a giant sadness. Now, with Xbox Live integration and Microsoft's new control over its App Store in Windows 8, the company started to look like an existential threat to Steam's digital distribution platform. To make matters worse,
So jumping forward, what are we looking at now? We're looking at steady year-over-year unit declines in PC sales. And the people in the field sort of are deer in the headlights. They were like, we didn't have a model where this was occurring. We thought that people would always keep buying more and more PCs regardless of what we did.
So now Valve is working hard to move Steam and PC gaming from the keyboard, mouse, and desk to the controller, sofa, and living room TV.
Our goal is to move things forward because we're really dependent upon the success and vibrancy of the PC.
Valve is breaking its dependency on Windows as it prepares to go up against the tech giants currently dominating the living room. All companies that build platforms hope that if they build it, developers will come. Let's look at what Gabe's company has been building: the UI, the OS, the gaming content, the controller, and of course, the machines. First, the user interface.
Sometimes, you just want to kick it in the living room.
Big Picture is a free Steam user interface designed specifically for the living room, where people usually sit 10 feet away from the screen with a controller. Over the past year, many game developers have been optimizing their Steam games to support Big Picture, so that now almost 1/3 of the games will work with a standard controller. Next, open software.
And Linux is sort of a kind of a get-out-of-jail-free pass for our industry.
Valve started porting Steam and some games over to Linux, an open-source free operating system for PCs. Then, on September 23rd, Valve went all in and announced Steam OS. Gabe Newell has personally come full circle. He started his career working on the first Windows operating systems, left Microsoft to make some video games, and is now building Valve's own operating system optimized for PC gaming in the living room. SteamOS aims to be the Android of gaming, a free download for users and a freely licensable operating system for manufacturers. By outsourcing the hardware, Valve can focus on the design, development, and support of the SteamOS and Store platform. And hardware vendors can now ship a gaming machine without paying licensing fees to Microsoft. It's really a simple but potentially disruptive business model in the gaming industry. By commoditizing the hardware and software, Valve only makes money when people download video games on Steam. In other words, the hardware and Linux operating system are open to modification, while Valve manages the Steam digital distribution platform. If successful, gamers and developers using SteamOS won't have to pay Microsoft for the latest DirectX drivers. And developers get all the benefits of Steam: easy updates, limited piracy, and shared revenue with any gamer-produced content created by their fans. Hats, anyone? Valve calls it a cooperating system. Users can alter or replace any part of the software or hardware they want. This allows hardware companies to iterate faster and content creators to connect directly with their audience through Steam. The SteamOS has 4 unique features. With in-home streaming, you can play all your Windows and Mac games on your Steam OS machine. Just turn on your existing computer and run Steam as you always have. Then your Steam OS machine can stream those games over your home network straight to your TV. This isn't something new. NVIDIA Shield, PlayStation's Vita Remote Play, and the Nintendo Wii U all stream audio and video while transmitting controller input to the main computing device. With media, Steam is working with many of the media services we know and love, allowing us to access our favorite music and videos. With family options, families will have more control over what titles get seen by whom, and more features to allow everyone in the house to get the most out of their Steam libraries. And the most interesting feature is family sharing. Valve says, now you can share the games you love with the people you love. Family sharing allows you to take turns playing one another's games while earning your own Steam achievements and saving your individual game progress to the Steam cloud. So if you really like the Xbox One's original plan to share games, Valve is currently testing a plan that will allow gamers to share their Steam library with up to 10 other people, but only one person can have access to the library at a time. When the game owner signs on, the borrower has a few minutes to wrap up their game or buy it for themselves. The next piece of the puzzle? Open games. At launch, besides offering the soon-to-be standard network services for video games, the Steam OS will have access to the full Steam catalog via in-home streaming, but only hundreds of great games are currently native to the Steam OS without the need for streaming. If Valve gets just 20% of its 55 million users to use its new Steam OS in the first year, that will be as many PS3 consoles sold on a good year. Good developers will have to start paying attention.
Linux really is the future of gaming.
But for me, the most exciting thing about Steam games is how Valve wants to change the idea of who can be a content creator in video games.
If users can do a much better job of generating items in our games than we can, then we need to think about other ways that that could happen.
Gabe Newell is thinking about helping more gamers become content creators.
So the way that we see things happening already is somebody builds one asset and somebody else builds assets on top of that. How revenue then flows between all of the participants so that everybody has confidence that as they invest in the community, that the community can reward them.
This way of thinking is already happening with music and video, and if you want to know a secret, this philosophy is the basis behind most YouTube channels like this one.
But the underlying thing is to sort of eliminate that whole barrier between people who create stuff and people who want to have access to it, and not have any sort of editorial or creation process in front of that.
If successful, more games on Steam will have user-generated downloadable content for sale in something called the Workshop, where gamers can create, discover, and download nearly an endless supply of top-quality user-created content. With Steam, gamers have a better way to interact with and even profit from their favorite video games. But the piece of hardware that makes a gaming platform work in the living room is really the controller. The Steam controller is designed to bring PC games designed for a mouse and keyboard onto a standard controller.
Right now you've got multi-touch, you've got motion, you've got keyboard and mouse, and you've got game controllers. And we're trying to think of, if you have all of those things, how do you segment what things are good at some stuff and not so good at others?
The two trackpads are fully configurable. The Legacy mode emulates a mouse and keyboard for games that haven't been modified to support the controller natively. The controller is mapped to output keyboard events, and it's designed to be precise enough to play first-person shooters without auto-aim turned on. And for mouse-driven games, both trackpads control the mouse alternately. This controller is definitely interesting, and I think, like the software, it will evolve over time. Finally, Valve infuses the hardware with its open platform philosophy in what it's going to call Steam Machines. In an industry of closed gaming ecosystems, openness has always made the PC platform more valuable to a growing number of gamers. If gamers want more graphics performance, they can get it. If they want more storage, they can add it. If they want more portability, there are options.
PC gaming is where innovation is occurring, and you'll see that in lots of ways. It's not on the consoles, it's not on any of the closed systems where the innovation is happening. It's happening to the extent to which openness is embraced by the underlying platform.
Valve is working with multiple partners to bring a variety of Steam gaming machines to market during 2014. Unlike with consoles, the hardware isn't locked down. You can buy, build, or modify both the software and hardware. Basically, Valve is taking over the role Microsoft had in the mid-90s with DirectX, except now the company is hoping to address fragmentation with Steam and SteamOS.
We're developing console form factor PCs, and we're working with partners on that as well. That has all of the characteristics of a great console device while taking advantage of the price performance and openness of the PC.
But to appeal to the mass market, Steam needs a flagship device. So Valve is testing some Steam machines for an optimal hardware configuration. We have designed a high-performance prototype that's optimized for gaming, for the living room, for Steam, and for users who want the most control possible over their hardware. The goal is to build machines that take over the living room through PC games and media streaming. Of course, there'll be other boxes that will optimize for size, price, quietness, or other factors. If successful, Steam machines are bad news for Microsoft's future control of PC and console gaming. The ultimate goal for Steam is to distribute enough SteamOS software to encourage developers to target their games for native SteamOS support. The streaming option is just a stopgap, and that's the beauty of Valve's strategy. If Steam does a good job managing the gaming library and compatibility issues, the gamer then gets to build the ideal hardware and software configuration that's perfect for them. For the record, of all the gaming innovations coming up this next generation, Steam machines and Steam games are where I'm personally placing my bets.
We want and think our industry is going to be best in the long run if there's this open platform for innovation and competition.
And as PC sales continue to decline, I'm hoping that Valve will successfully lead the charge for a media PC in every gamer's living room. It's really a great strategy. I'm just hoping that Valve can execute in time.
And if we're wrong, at least it will be spectacularly entertaining as a failure. So.
If you'd like to support the channel and support your favorite platform, check the Amazon links below to make sure you're getting the best gaming deals. Now's the time where I personally thank all the most recent subscribers. Welcome to the channel, a place where we can share our ideas and opinions about innovative things that might one day qualify to be our next digital appliances. I always read every single comment, and thanks in advance for liking and sharing these videos on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and Reddit. I will definitely start putting out more Gaming Wars episodes now that the console launches are coming up. I hope to go over what Apple will be introducing next week, and I'm really sorry I don't make more videos. I have a ton of ideas, but between work and home, finding the extra time is starting to get a little hard. And to be honest, it probably won't get easier since during the holidays I usually have to work more hours at the store. But if you really like this video, please click the squares from your computer or check the links below to watch related episodes. I'm hopeful that one day I'll have more time to make more videos to bring you the latest product innovations and technologies here on